This year, I participated in a Pokémon tournament for charity, and we themed the teams around Homestuck stuff because it was a Homestuck themed charity. My theme was the Land of Light and Rain. The reason I picked this team is because I was playing Champions right before the tournament, and I was having a lot of fun with the Rain team, and I haven't really played competitively, and I haven't really played in a setting that was more like VGC, but it was really fun to position my Pokemon and win weather wars and like just figure out what I should be doing in each turn. And I was really enjoying it. I chose the Land of Light and Rain to make a rain team, essentially. That was my idea. The format that we went with was kind of similar to VGC in the fact that we pick 4 Pokemon to bring into the battles. We ended up changing it after the first battle, but the other rules are that we were allowed 1 restricted, which was defined as legendaries, paradox Pokemon, and Ultra Beasts. And we were allowed 1 gimmick, which, that includes like Mega Evolutions, Z-Moves, Terra, Dynamax, etc. When I was building my teams, I was thinking about, the 4v4 format. And of course, the first and foremost, I'm thinking about what would fit the theme of my team. So a couple of things that I wrote down were that the inhabitants of the land are pink turtles. So I wanted a turtle on the team. The land is colored in CMYK, like the light color spectrum. Or like a pastel theme. So I was thinking maybe like fairy types would also work on the team. The next obvious aspect of the light and rain world is that it's constantly raining. And the other obvious aspect of the world is that it's covered in a vast ocean and is generally water themed. The last thing I was considering was the lore of the world, and honestly, I didn't want to reread the comic because I'd have to like sift out the pages, and honestly, there isn't really a lot because Rose, she just kind of wreaks havoc. But I read on the Wikipedia that the denizen of the world, Cetus, devoured all of the creatures in the ocean and is sleeping. I thought that part was actually really interesting, so I started thinking about, I feel like I could use any water type on this team, but it would be more fitting if it was a water type that was eaten or eats other creatures. To start off, I knew for a fact that I wanted a turtle on my team, and the first turtle that came to mind was Terapagos. Terapagos was calling to me because it was rainbow colored. I figured that it would just be good to center my whole team around it. I was able to protect Terapagos decently most of the time, but I was also putting all my eggs in one basket, and I felt like my team wasn't working together as much as they were just supporting the star player. So I scrapped the Terapagos idea, and I started thinking about other turtles. The main Pokemon I wanted to try to use was Mega Blastoise, who can use a rain-boosted Water Spout and a Mega Launcher-boosted Terrain Pulse. So after some thinking, I wanted to try Psychic Terrain because out of all the terrains, Expanding Force is the most useful terrain-boosted move. And while Misty Terrain is defensive, it boosts Misty Explosion, which sucks, and I'm not going to do that. Unfortunately, this team didn't really work because Hatterene is a Trick Room Mon, and everything else wants to be boosted by Swift Swim or Tailwind. There weren't many Psychic types with Expanding Force that fit the theme, really, besides Hatterene, and maybe Gardevoir? I don't know, but I think it's kind of a stretch, personally. And honestly, Tapu Lele wasn't really fitting the team. Tapu Fini would have worked better. And then I was also thinking, why would I use these Tapus as, my restricted? I really did want to keep Blastoise. I was doing this for a week. I was agonizing, just keeping Blastoise and Pelipper pretty much in their spots, and Basculegion, and then I was switching everything else out. I kind of ended up with this team, where I ended up using Electric Terrain, and I actually almost went with it. Yeah, it's a little self-destructive, and I was like, well, that kind of fits the theme anyway, because Rose would just blow up the world. Okay, so let's just start at the top here. Pelipper is my Rain and Tailwind setter with access to Hurricane. I really wanted Wartortle because I thought having both Blastoise and Wartortle would be kind of funny. And it fills the same role as Clefairy did on that Terapagos team, just a little bit worse. It doesn't have Friend Guard, but it has Rain Dish, so it could recover in the rain while holding an Eviolite. And it has redirection, it has fake out, it has speed control with icy wind, and it has life dew for healing itself and its partner. I also just really like Wartortle as a Pokemon. I like its tail and its little ears. It's so awesome. I really like middle stage starters. They look so funky, you know? Ever since I thought of using Basculegion, in a rain team, I pretty much never removed it. It's got Swift Swim. It's actually my primary rain abuser, except I don't use it that well, I think. Anyway, in terms of the theme, it's a fish that is a ghost type. The idea is that it got eaten, and it's a ghost fish. So it works out amazingly well in that respect. And also, when we were making our teams, you know, again, like the 4v4 format was what I was thinking of. So I'm like, Last Respects is I think it's like okay in a 4v4 format. Like, I don't know if it's banned. I know it's banned in singles, but I was like, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. I could use it. If I didn't use Basculegion, my alternative Pokemon would have been Dracovish or potentially the Dondozo Tatsugiri I was mentioning earlier. The last two Pokemon on my team had to be my restricted and whatever the other thing was going to be. I really wanted Terrain. I was still set on the Terrain thing because I really wanted to use Terrain Pulse. At some point, I actually tried using Iron Bundle because like I'm using like Electric Terrain with my Pinkerton, and I'm like, what Paradox Pokemon could benefit from this? And then I ended up choosing Raging Bolt, which is actually a past Paradox Pokemon, so its photosynthesis ability is not being activated by the Electric Terrain. But under Electric Terrain, it got a pretty significant boost to its Electric type moves, and when in my testing, I would frequently come down to just using Raging Bolt in Electric Terrain, and it would kind of just win a lot of the times, and I was like, man, I'm not getting the response that I want, which is I'm losing. I'm actually winning. And so I'm like, I guess this is the team I'm gonna go with, right? I really liked Pinkerton though. Like, I had fun using it, and people didn't really respect it. And I think it would come out with some shocking results. But here's the thing. Even though it was working for me, it was, like, let's be honest here. My water types would be at a disadvantage against electric types in the terrain. I don't have Raichu to redirect electric attacks anyway. Blastoise using Terrain Pulse would only be helpful against other water types. I submitted this team like a couple days before the tournament was officially like locking in our teams, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm still agonizing over it. I'm still theory crafting over here. I'm like, man, what do I do? And then one day before the teams were finalized, I brought an entirely different team. Why was I using Pelipper when the best rain setter in the game can also be my restricted and also my mega? Okay, honestly, I thought the Primal was overkill and Drizzle could have been more beneficial for my team overall, but Primordial Rain can't be countered by anything except Primal Groudon's Dissolute Land or like Cloud9 or something. And because my team really loves rain, I really like the idea of just having permanent rain. So what's funny is that the reason I didn't pick Kyogre for a long time is because on Showdown, the only format it was legal in with the rest of my team was Nat Dex doubles Ubers, which you can make a team for, but it wasn't playable. And then a couple days, like literally like a day or two before the tournament, the Showdown showcase, like the Showdown format showcase of the day was Nat Dex doubles Ubers. And I was like, holy shit, I can actually, let me build a Kyogre team right now and test it. Kyogre is just so good to represent this team because it can be pink, first of all, and the Denizen, Cetus, is a pink sea creature monster. And also the constellation Cetus, like the real world constellation, is also sometimes referred to as the whale. The Primal kind of gets rid of its pink color, but it still has that like rainbow like shine to it, you know what I mean? I gave Kyogre Water Spout over Origin Pulse simply because Origin Pulse has 85% accuracy. I know a lot of people would run Origin Pulse over Water Spout so they don't have to worry about HP, but to be honest, Kyogre is just a big flashy target that outputs damage until it dies. I have Protect on it, but I literally would never use it because I just didn't care. My next Pokemon is Whimsicott. I called it a cloud. There was a lot of Pokemon that had like actual clouds, like Thundurus, and like actually I thought for a second Enamorous Therian for a second. I was thinking of that. But I wanted Whimsicott because it has Prankster. I know it's not literally a cloud, but like it flies, it's cloud shaped. So that was my argument for it. Give it Covert Cloak so it can't get faked out. It's a Tailwind setter because that's usually what it does. I did invest into Kyogre's speed stat, but it's still not really that fast. But with Tailwind, I can set Tailwind in the same turn as an attack on Kyogre, and it would move second, like right after Whimsicott. Whimsicott has Taunt to try and stop opposing setters as long as they're not dark types, and Hurricane to capitalize off of Kyogre's Rain and to counter grass types. As you can see, it has Misty Terrain, which was meant to prevent status, so I couldn't be slowed down. There were some scenarios where this might have been helpful, but I kind of just didn't use it. I thought it would be nice for the theming since I mentioned the fairy typing could be for the pastel light of the land, and I mean, I could have put anything else in that slot. I could have put Moonblast. Even after all this time, I was still attached to the stupid terrain idea. Wartortle and Basculegion remain in their spots, and I bring back Raichu for Lightning Rod support. I gave it Encore to lock opposing electric type moves as well as anything like Protect or setup moves. Raichu is like really fast, and especially under Tailwind, it would outspeed like a lot of things. I know people run Encore on Whimsicott, but I thought it would still be pretty good on Raichu. I gave it a Focus Sash and Endeavor, so once it gets like hit to like nothing after like one attack, because of its frailty, I can just use that to like break any especially defensive Pokemon I'd be struggling with, or like anything that was doing really well against me, I could just, turn it back on them. And then I gave it Rain Dance to set Rain after Kyogre, and Thunder to use in the rain. My last slot is Hisui and Gudra. This is a slightly out of left field pick, but it kind of fits since snails can be found in the sea, and the Pokemon itself evolves in the rain. The reason it's here is to bring more physical damage to the table and have resists and coverage that the rest of the team doesn't have. I gave it Acid Armor since it has more PP than Shelter, and they do the same thing. They didn't translate Shelter's like additional effect over from Legends. Obviously, I gave it Body Press for the fighting coverage, and it gets stronger with all of its defensive boosts. And Iron Head again for coverage. Shell Armor can prevent crits, so it can pretty much just stall anything if it came down to it. Like, partnering it with Wartortle, they just kind of sit on the field. Especially because they both have Life Dew. They can literally just, like, Life Dew each other. So, yeah, this is my final team. This is what I went with. I tested it twice in Showdown, in that Nat Dex Doubles Ubers format, and I won both of my games. So, I was like, okay, I'm 2 for 2. I think we're good. I did ask if Blue Orb was okay to use because I was a little worried given how powerful Kyogre is. I was like, I don't know if I should be allowed to use Primal Kyogre, but I was told it was okay, so here we are. But we ended up changing the rules anyway, so yeah, it kind of worked out anyway, so you'll see. Alright, so this is the first match of the whole tournament. So this is with the original format, which was like VGC rules basically, but instead of best of 3, we were doing best of 1. I bring out Kyogre and Whimsicott literally every game. This is just like my only lead, and I didn't have a reason to change it because nobody knows. Also to preface, we don't know each other's teams until we fight each other, and I don't know anyone's playstyles, so there was really no reason for me not to lead Kyogre and Whimsicott, pretty much. So, Palafins are pretty obvious lead. Usually they just flip turn and come back out. They go back in and they come back out as transformed. Raichu, maybe I think that Raichu's a good lead just in general. I have 3 water types. That's why I have my own Raichu, so I can absorb any electric type attacks into it. Flip turn comes out, that makes sense. Water Spout pretty much demolishes them. Unfortunately. Sceptile, Palafin. Sceptile's gonna Mega Evolve here, so I take a Leaf Blade. Endeavor, the Palafin. I'm just gonna Ice Beam the Sceptile, I'm pretty sure. Bulk Up. Sceptile just dies. It is what it is. And yeah, Palafin's... It's not living through my Thunder. Physical... I'm pretty sure Sceptile is a special attacker, but a physical Grass type move on a Mega Evolved Pokemon against Kyogre, that was genuinely the best move that could have been used against Kyogre. I mean, it wouldn't have... one-shotting Kyogre is really hard, but it did a lot of damage. But yeah, that was the 3-turn battle. So we were like, okay, this is way too short, and the tournament is not going to look too great if I just sweep everyone with Kyogre. So we had a couple of other battles. You know, we did a couple different tests. I'm pretty sure this is 6v6. I don't think we actually changed any of the rules in this one. I felt bad with using Kyogre, so I didn't lead Kyogre in this turn. In this game, even though my opponent expected me to use Kyogre based on these leads. Mega Sceptile, I just Tailwind, Rain Dance, Earthquake comes out, crits. I didn't get down to Sash, but it's pretty close. Endeavor, yep. A Hurricane comes out. Okay, Seismic Toss into my Whimsicott. Okay, Raichu comes out. Endeavor the Raichu. I'm just endeavoring. I love Endeavor. Endeavor Hurricane. I just love Endeavor. I pretty much just Endeavor and Hurricane through the entire game. I was ignoring Blissey. I wasn't respecting it because it was not able to do anything, so I just waited till the last turn. Tier Shift mod. This is the Tier Shift mod. I don't really think that affected it that badly. Like, Tier Shift? What is that? It just shifts. Is it shift like lower tiers up one, or I don't know. I can't remember what I even did in this round. Tailwind, yeah, Ice Beam. Oh, I think I expected a switch here into Sceptile. Water Spout, they just die. Oh, Jarchi lives a little bit. Blissey, Thunder. Oh, Paralyzed. That was right when the Misty Terrain ended too. That is crazy. Yeah, the Tier Shift mod helped a little bit, I think, because it did we went to turn 8, but it still wasn't good enough. This is our final battle, our official battle for the tournament. So also the mods. This is our official one. So the mod we use the Scalemons mod for this, and then we're doing the full team of 6. The Scalemons mod, I didn't know what it did for like the longest time, but I looked it up, and apparently it buffs their base stat total until they're all around 600. It doesn't like change their stat distribution, but their stat totals just go up, and it makes things a lot more even, you know, because it's just because everyone has like such a variety in team composition. So we have Kyogre and Whimsicott here, Raichu, Palafin. So because we had fought 3 times, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna use Thunderbolt, because it's obvious that I would just throw in my Raichu to absorb it. So I decided not to do that, and I just do a more the classic play that I would do if Raichu weren't here, which is Tailwind and Water Spout. Oh, at Thunder. Never mind. I just get rid of that Palafin. In the previous games, it did get off Flip Turn, so it makes sense. I kind of expected Flip Turn, and I was like, I'll just get rid of it. I'm not even gonna bother letting it switch out. And then I take that Thunderbolt, and look how much damage it does. With the Scalemons mod buffs everything so much. I was like, wow, it's so strong. Compare that to the Leaf Blade, a physical grass type Leaf Blade from Mega Sceptile that only brought me down to like 30%. Even though Sceptile is a special attacker, its physical attack isn't that bad. It's like 85, and Raichu's special attack is like 90. And Kyogre is much more specially defensive. So to do even more than that physical Leaf Blade is crazy. Like, the Scalemon it's doing its job. Blissey comes out. I switch out into Goodra. Oh, I switch out both of them. Yep, because I was expecting another lightning. Just took it. Encore the Raichu, so it's just stuck in. It's locked into Thunderbolt. Stealth Rock. See, this is what I was like. Oh, oh, my Kyogre is dead. It's not coming back out. It's just gonna die the second it touches the rocks. So, Rain Dance here. I still have one turn of Tailwind. Stealth Rock. These Stealth Rock 2? Okay, Stealth Rock came out again, didn't do anything. Thunder into Smeargle. Even with the Skelemons mod, that did so much damage. It kind of crumpled. Oh wait, no. No, it's because I had the special attack boost. That's why. Body Press. Almost gets it. Sceptile comes out. Endeavor. It didn't do a lot because Raichu's actually not that low. Earthquake instantly kills it. That's fine. I think it did its job by setting up Rain and Encore, Endeavor. Like it did what it needed to do pretty much. I could have switched it out. I could have switched it out that turn. I didn't need to Endeavor, but it's fine. Okay, Whimsicott sets up Tailwind again. Dragon Pulse doesn't really do much. Hitomi Goodra is interesting. It only has 2 weaknesses, which is ground and fighting. Earthquake did 16% versus Dragon Pulse did 13%. Hitomi Goodra is so bulky. It's so crazy how strong it is. Wow, Hurricane did a lot of damage. I was wondering, actually, why Sceptile didn't Mega. I think maybe if it Mega'd, it definitely would have done more damage. This kind of ends up... We're on turn 9 right now. This kind of ends up being like almost like a stall game with these two. All these... Because we both have life too. And we're just healing ourselves. And I'm just setting up my Goodra. We got 1 Doom Desire left, so I switched out... Yeah, rip. And I threw out Kyogre because I was like, you know what, this thing is useless. Let's just get rid of it. Throw Turtle back out. And then I go back to actually fighting. Flake out, Doom Desire comes out, or Body Press? Max Body Press. Even with the resistance, it will just kill. Jirachi has like Covert Cloak or something because it didn't take the speed drop. Body Press. Yeah, 2 Body Presses, it's over. Yeah. Jirachi is it's a little passive. And even though my Pokemon are also passive, after setting up, Goodra can just sit on them. So that was the game. So yeah, GG's. It was a good first match. And that was also, as you see, we got to turn 14. So we're like, okay, this is the play. Alright, so this is my second match, and I'm going up against a Roxy Lalonde team. And I see Grimmsnarl on the team. Basically, the issue with a Dark-type setter in general is that you can't taunt, and I have taunt to counter setters, and I can't counter this one. Okay, so my plan was just to get Grimmsnarl, because I didn't want to set up anything. Covert Cloak protects me from Fake Out. The light screen totally, like, that Hurricane, it did, like, nothing. It only, like, 16%. I mean, I know Whimsicott. I don't think I trained my Whimsicott to be that strong, but still. Okay, so I just Tailwind, and she sets up Reflect, and Water Spout comes out. That gets rid of them. The Pokemon pretty much did their jobs. Like, they got Light Screen up. These two come out. Protect. Water Spout. I switched into Raichu here because I see Porygon Z and I'm like, oh, I know this thing has Thunderbolt. So I switch into Raichu. And I eat it. Switch into Clefable, Fairy type. Oh, I Encore the Protect here. Water Spout. Terra Fairy Sylveon's clear the ace, I guess. Switch into Gallade. I just Thunder that. Water Spout. Yep. Sorry, Gallade. Sorry, Gallade. It didn't get to live. Future Sight Attack was put into play. Wow, even with the Oh, I think they only have no. There's only reflect up. So I was like, wow, that did a lot of damage on a Clefable. But yeah, no light screen anymore. Tri attack does so much damage. Wow. Maybe specs. What does that? What does adaptability do? I kind of forget. Oh, it boosts stab. Okay, yeah, I knew Tri attack had stab, but wow. So it's like a 2 times doubly effective stab. All right, so we have Sylveon coming back out. Thunder. Yeah. Hyper Voice. Wow, it does so much damage. Pixelate, like Pixelate, Hyper Voice, Terra Fairy. Like, wow. I wonder how much damage that would have done to my Kyogre. Even with spread too. I wonder how much damage that would have done to Kyogre if I had more health. But I just switched into Wartortle and Fake Out and it's over. But it was a good game. So this is the semifinals. If I'm gonna be honest, I actually kind of knew what this team was before going in because this is the organizer for the tournament. So when we were testing out our teams, like we're testing out in the first match and we were trying to figure out how to change the format. They were in the call and they were watching. To be fair, that means they saw my team. They know what I'm doing for the most part. But then during that same call, they battled the person that I fought, and the person that I fought was streaming, so I just watched it. So I already knew some of the Pokemon here. I remembered the leads, which were Smeargle and Sandaconda. And I'm like, okay. But I didn't remember exactly what moves they used, so I was like, but I knew that Smeargle was a setup Pokemon. And then I knew that Dipplin was going to Dragon Tail, which is it's like a strategy you see in singles where you set up like hazards and then you just like roar or Dragon Tail and you keep switching the opponent's Pokemon out, and so they keep taking damage from the hazards. I'm pretty sure I just Tailwind. I think I Tailwind Water Spout first turn, but they switch into Superior, which is a good switch. Sticky Web. Yeah, Water Spout. Almost takes out the Smeargle. Has Focus Sash, yeah. This still did good damage to the Superior. I taunt it, and then it Mortal Spins. And then it poisons me. I don't know what Mortal Spin is. It says it's associated with Glamora. Does it always poison? Mortal Spin inflicts damage, then removes any binding effects and leech seed from the user, as well as entry hazards from the user's side. It also leaves each target poisoned. Oh, I was so confused. I was like, why is my Whimsicott not poisoned? Covert Cloak. Haha. Right, so I didn't get poisoned on my Whimsicott, but my Kyogre took poison, which is really bad. Really bad. I didn't know a new Mortal Spin or like that poison was going to be like in play at all. I didn't expect it. So I was like, dang, this would have been a good time to use Misty Terrain. Yeah, Ice Beam into the Superior. I was scared of Superior because, first of all, it's a grass type, which I do counter. I have counters to it, but I'm like, it's a contrary Superior. So once it starts hitting you with the Leaf Storm, it just starts like snowballing. Okay, Ogerpon comes out. Okay, I'm also not super familiar. I'm not super familiar with Ogerpon either. I know that it can wear different, like she can wear different masks, and the one that I was worried about was Ogerpon Wellspring. I was like scared of this one because it's a grass type. It's a physical grass type. It's fast. That is one of the Pokemon that I carried Hurricane for. When I saw Ogerpon, I was like, I actually didn't realize it was the Cornerstone mask until it came out. I was like, oh no, it's my worst nightmare. But when I saw the rock type, I was like, oh, I can hit it with Ice Beam. So Spiky Shield's first turn, I just double up into it because it's like, I don't want this. And then the Stone Axe comes out. At this point, I'm realizing that Smeargle, taunting Smeargle was basically useless. I think the turns would have been a little bit more optimal if I taunted Smeargle turn 1 and then Tailwinded. But yeah, at this point, I was realizing the taunt was like not useful. I didn't even know that this move existed. It is a problem. I was like, I don't know a lot of these moves even exist. So I take more poison damage and I basically lose that turn. Terra, Rock, Body Aspect. Okay, I just decided to get rid of the Smeargle. I was like kind of sick of it. Even though it did its job, I don't think it was gonna do anything else. I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna let you do whatever. I'm not gonna let you do anything else, even if you wanted to. Wow, huge Power Whip. Okay, so this is Ice Beam. Ice Beam didn't... I think it was neutral? No, it's Terra Rock. So it loses the grass typing. The Power Whip missing here was actually so critical. Yeah, that was huge. I took some more poison damage, so my water spout is slowly getting weaker. And I'm like, I think at this point the water spout was at like 103 base power, which is still really good. But I was still like, okay, here's the situation. Like, yeah, I was losing power on my water spout. I could have used it here and just gotten rid of Ogerpon, like, right here. But the thing is, like, I see Dipplin. And there's no Terra. And I have Ice Beam. So I'm like, here's the thing. I got my whole team in the back. I have multiple options to deal with the Ogerpon. And I don't have... My only Ice-type move is Ice Beam on Kyogre. So I'm thinking, we just need to, like, get rid of the Dipplin, actually. So I Tailwind. Oh, Spiky Shield. Actually, I'm not sure if I was considering Spiky Shield in this scenario. Oh, they both protected. Never mind. That let me set up Tailwind. I'll take it. I take more poison damage. Switch into Basque Legion because it's still... I'm gonna try and take advantage of the rain while it's still up. Oh, the 10% freeze! Oh, that's so unfortunate that Power Whip missed, and I get the 10% freeze on this thing. Oh, but the Power Whip hits because of the evasion loss, I think. It might have been more beneficial to switch into Dipplin here, get the evasion drop, and then use Power Whip, then I definitely would have lost my Kyogre this turn. The thing about Kyogre is, like, I don't care about its well-being. I don't care about its existence. Because I believe in the rest of my team to still work together without Kyogre. With or without Kyogre, they're gonna make it. So I tend to just let it die. Like, I could have switched it out at any point to not take poison damage, but like coming back in, I would have taken spikes and then I would have been slowed. Honestly, it just wasn't worth it. So I set up my secondary setter. Now here's the situation here. It used Power Whip last turn. So Ogerpon has Spiky Shield. And I'm threatening a water type attack with my Basque Legion. And so I'm thinking, what if I attack Ogerpon here, what if it just Spiky Shields? So I chose to just attack the Dipplin because I guess I didn't really care what the Ogerpon did. It also could have Power Whipped my Basque Legion, honestly, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I think I was just trying to figure out whether it was going to Spiky Shield or not, so... Instead, I just go for the Dipplin. I just Rain Dance and attack Dipplin. And it Ivy cudgels my Raichu. Now my Basque Legion's actually in like a really nice position. The Tailwind is really helping here because if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have been able to set up Rain Dance. I would have just died. The Sticky Web takes your speed down by like a third. But Tailwind doubles your speed, so with Tailwind and Sticky Web, your speed is actually higher than it was before. Now my Basque Legion's looking real nice with Tailwind and with the rain, Swift Swim Rain. And again, I'm thinking, like, are we gonna see the Spiky Shield come out? I don't know. I have 2 Pokemon down. My last Respects is at like 150 power. And the other thing is that I chose my Basque Legion is choiced, so that's also another reason why I chose to use Last Respects, because nobody on the team resists Last Respects, and I don't take chip damage. It just gets stronger. Like, Wave Crash is nice. It's just, it would have been okay. It would have been decent, but I didn't want to take chip damage. So I'm seeing this Viper, and the only thing I know Viper does is glare, and I really don't want to be slowed down. If I'm expecting a glare coming out of this thing, and if the Ogerpon like Spiky Shields or whatever, we just gotta go in. We just gotta last respects this Viper. I was like, my idea with the Basculegion originally was to threaten the Ogerpon, but I have Hisui and Gudra in the back, and I'm like, this thing, I can lose Basculegion, and I would still be fine, is what I was thinking. So we need to get rid of the glare threat. Oh! Wait, I wasn't thinking about that. I actually forgot. I forgot that I did that. Actually, the follow me wasn't that imperative because I think I actually attacked Ogerpon on purpose. They lose the glare turn and Ogerpon, and now we're down to last Pokemon. And then I use follow me because, you know, my support Pokemon. Rock Blast comes out. Wow, Wartortle is so bulky. My granddaughter. Yeah, and you know, you can pretty much see how this goes. Okay, Earthquake, that was a good counter, but not good enough. Wow. It was what I was thinking here also was that I didn't know what ability it had. If it had Sand Spit, they could have gotten rid of the rain and replaced it with sand. And like Ogerpon also benefits from sand. So it wouldn't have been like the worst idea to have Sand Spit. In this very particular specific scenario, it would have benefited them. Hello, we are back with the final match, and maybe a slightly different setup here because I deleted the layout. Don't worry about it. So as you can see, it's kind of a mirror match. We're both running Kyogre Rain teams. What was funny? The funny thing is that my opponent told me that she swept all her matches before we got here. So I was really curious as to what team I was fighting because I didn't sweep all my matches. So I really wanted to know what was better than my team. And it turns out just to be my team, but slightly different. But as you can see, there's like a very key difference in our teams, and it'll come up as we go on. So let's just get into it. Okay, so we got Basculegion and Kyogre versus my usual lead, which has been Whimsicott and Kyogre. Okay, to be honest, I just tunnel visioned into Basculegion because I know that Last Respects is crazy, so I didn't really consider what the Kyogre was going to do here. Even though we both probably have like the exact same moveset, meaning that Kyogre probably has Thunder, I guess I just wasn't thinking about that when I did this play. Like looking back on it, I realized that the optimal play was to click Protect here and then Tailwind and then switch in Raichu, but I'm too aggressive. Like, I just play aggressively, and I didn't click Protect anywhere in this tournament, even though this is, like, the most optimal place to do it. And maybe that one time that I fought Raichu. But instead, I do an aggressive play, and I Tailwind and Thunder. But of course, Basculegion is faster than me in Rain, and Flip turns out. So my Thunder goes into Altaria and paralyzes, and then I get Thundered and paralyzed. I also thought it was interesting that I only went down to 29% when that Alolan Raichu took me down to 3. The funny thing about Scalemons is that Pokemon with like very min-maxed stats are like crazy good, and Pokemon that are a little bit more evened out like Kyogre are kinda a little bit mediocre. I wouldn't say Kyogre is bad by any means, but the way its stats are distributed makes it a bulky mixed attacker, pretty much. For whatever reason, its attack stat is also insanely high. So in Scalemons, it kind of evens out a lot more. And between my specially defensive Kyogre and that Thunder, I ended up taking less damage than from the Raichu, I guess. So now that I see Altaria is here, the obvious play would be to Ice Beam into Altaria, but honestly, it's not that obvious of a play because the bigger threat is the Kyogre now. And because it's Terra Grass, I actually Ice Beam into the Kyogre. And Altaria protects, I think maybe predicting the Ice Beam. And I switch into Raichu here because of course, the Thunder's gonna come out again, so I absorb it. I chose to Encore here because I didn't expect Kyogre to switch out. Usually, when someone uses Electric into me and I send in Raichu, they will sometimes switch out, or I would have switched out, personally, if my Electric moves like stopped working. But sometimes they stay in because they have other options, and Kyogre I didn't see switching out, so I went for the Encore, and it paid off because I got another Ice Beam off, and I got another Thunder into Raichu. Altaria's Hurricane does actually decent damage, and it confuses me, which is unfortunate. But at this point, Kyogre was like completely useless. It was confused, it was paralyzed, it just wasn't helping anymore. So the reason I preserved it though is because I wanted to see if I could reuse it for Primordial Sea to like support maybe Basculegion or something like that. So that's why I switched it out. And switching in Hisuian Gujira is like no skin off my back. This is like the easiest pivot in the world. Nothing is doing damage to this thing. Nothing has done damage to this thing. Let's see. Okay, so Tinkaton comes out. Altaria protects again, so what ends up happening here is we both get free switch-ins, which is fine. Basculegion comes out, and the fake out to let Basculegion come in safely. I just get to set up my defense. And without Rain, unfortunately, Basculegion is way too slow for Raichu. And I didn't miss the Thunder, so that's nice. Brick Break comes out. Brick Break only does like 19%. Which is kind of crazy. Okay, maybe it's not that crazy. I actually don't think Tinkaton's not that strong, right? It's like defensive. That's kind of it. I used Thunder into the Tinkaton and Body Press into Empoleon. I'm thinking about it now that I had Endeavor on Raichu and I never got to use it. Because the way the Scalemons mod works, Raichu's negative defenses, I didn't train it in defense like at all. It has a negative defense nature. It like, and everything being boosted to 600 just like lets Raichu not die in one hit somehow. It has never, like nobody I fought like try to take out Raichu in one hit except for Ogerpon. And in that fight, I was already chipped. Like, I was a little sad that I never got to use my Endeavor strat because Raichu either it always got chipped by like fake out or hazards or something, so I never get to use my Endeavor. And even here, when I'm in like a decent Endeavor range to take down like a really bulky Pokemon, like for example, if Kyogre here was at full health, it would have been really nice here. But both Kyogre and Empoleon are under 29%, like at least 29% for them, but like Raichu's like this is not an Endeavor. This is not Endeavor range, so I never get to use it. But obviously Thunder is the correct play here since it's raining and I get to have free accuracy on it. So I use it into Empoleon, and the Kyogre uses Origin Pulse, takes out my Raichu, and its reign of terror comes to an end. But it did a lot of work. As you can see, almost the whole team is gone at this point. Helping Hand. I fake out the Altaria because between these two, support and whatever Altaria does, Altaria is more likely to be an attacker since I knew it had Hurricane. So I just faked out. I get to set up it also gives me a free defense, basically. Follow Me, take the Hurricane, just eats that for breakfast. Iron Head does okay damage. I'm not really using I'm not using Body Press here because both of the opponents are resistant to it, so we're in a little bit of a stall match. But I also noticed that Altaria is roosting, and I'm like, wait, it's roosting. it's just losing its flying type. It's losing its flying typing. So I just go for the body press and it goes down. I also just started being offensive with Wartortle because, like, what's the threat? Yeah, we're taking like, the damage is like between both of us, we're not doing a lot of damage, and we're healing it back with our leftovers. So I switched into Kyogre to see if I could pull off a Thunder, but unfortunately it gets the Weather Ball and goes down. But that was also part of my plan because I could just switch into Basculegion and use Last Respects. And that's the game. When I was building my teams, I was so worried about being too overpowered or not covering my own weaknesses. So I spent a long time crafting my team. But as you can see, I kind of just like strolled through this whole tournament. So maybe I was just overthinking things in the first place. Everyone in this tournament had like there was a mix of people who were really knowledgeable about Pokemon and those who weren't as knowledgeable, and it was just a variety. I had no idea what to expect, you know. I guess I proved myself. So yeah, that's it. It was really fun to see everyone's teams because everyone had themed teams, and I think everyone's Pokemon were fun picks for their themes. And honestly, part of me wished I picked a different theme because I wanted to use more unconventional Pokemon. Like, one person ran Illumise, and I was like, that's perfect. Like, I would have picked Illumise if I did that theme. But I'm at least glad I got to run like Raichu and Wartortle. I think these two in particular were fun picks that I got to show off. So that's fun. I don't really see myself getting into competitive like for real, but I just think it's fun to do challenges and stuff, and I just really like Pokemon and I hate losing. So so I don't know. Maybe I'll do more like Pokemon stuff in the future. Maybe I'll make more videos. I don't know. I really like talking about Pokemon, but I don't have a lot of people to talk about it with. So this is just a fun exercise for me. Also, we had to have our own trainer sprites to represent ourselves in the tournament. So I drew my own based on the land itself and also just Rose Salon's God tier outfit. And I made Wartortle my partner Pokemon because I like it and it fits in the drawing. And I made the eyes look like that because it's supposed to look like a consort in Homestuck. So yeah, and you can see it using Follow Me there. I had a lot of fun in this tournament. It really makes me want to play Pokemon more, honestly. And I hope that everyone who watched and tuned in enjoyed our journey and also donated, perhaps, to charity. Trans rights, thank you, and goodbye.